Another day, another story. Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel. In today's video, we will be discussing one of the most critical aspects of the pharma industry, clinical trials. Clinical trials are an essential part of drug development, and they play a crucial role in ensuring the safety and efficacy of new medications. In this video, we will explore the basics of clinical trials, their 4 phases, the number of volunteers required for each phase, and examples of drugs that have undergone each phase of clinical trials. Before a clinical trial can begin, there are several crucial steps that must be taken to ensure that the trial is safe, ethical, and scientifically valid. The following are the basic steps prior to clinical trials. Preclinical research. Preclinical research is conducted to evaluate the safety and effectiveness of a new drug, therapy, or medical device before testing it in humans. Preclinical research typically involves laboratory testing and animal studies. This step is necessary to determine whether the new drug, therapy, or device is safe and effective enough to proceed to clinical trials. Investigational new drug, IND, application. If the preclinical research is promising, the next step is to submit an investigational new drug, IND, application to the regulatory agency, such as the FDA in the US, that oversees clinical trials. The IND application provides detailed information about the new drug, therapy, or device, including results from the preclinical research, the proposed clinical trial protocol, and information about the drug's manufacturing and quality control. Institutional Review Board, IRB, approval. Before a clinical trial can begin, it must be approved by an Institutional Review Board, IRB. The IRB is a group of medical and non-medical professionals who review the proposed clinical trial protocol to ensure that it is safe and ethical. The IRB also ensures that participants in the clinical trial are adequately informed about the risks and benefits of participating and that their rights and privacy are protected. Clinical trial design. The clinical trial design must be carefully planned to ensure that the trial is scientifically valid and that the results are meaningful. The trial design should specify the inclusion and exclusion criteria for participants, the treatment protocols, the endpoints, and the statistical methods to be used in analyzing the results. Patient recruitment. Once the clinical trial protocol is finalized, patient recruitment can begin. Potential participants must meet the inclusion and exclusion criteria specified in the protocol. Recruitment can be a time-consuming process, as it can be challenging to find enough eligible participants to enroll in the trial. Informed consent. Before participating in a clinical trial, participants must provide informed consent. Informed consent means that participants are fully informed about the risks and benefits of participating in the trial, and they understand their rights and responsibilities as participants. Participants must sign a consent form indicating that they have understood the information provided and are willing to participate in the trial. In summary, the basic steps prior to clinical trials involve preclinical research, submission of an IND application, IRB approval, clinical trial design, patient recruitment, and informed consent. These steps are critical to ensuring that clinical trials are safe, ethical, and scientifically valid. Phase 0 clinical trials, also known as exploratory trials, are the first step in the clinical trial process. Phase 0 clinical trials are very different from other phases of clinical trials. They are designed to test very low doses of a drug in a small number of people to see if the drug behaves in the way we expect it to. In Phase 0 clinical trials, only a small number of volunteers are involved, usually between 10 and 15. These volunteers are given a very low dose of the drug, and the researchers monitor their reactions closely. We monitor the volunteers very closely for any adverse reactions or side effects. We want to make sure that the drug is safe and well tolerated at these very low doses before we move on to larger trials. Phase 0 trials are primarily designed to gather data about the drug's pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics, which refers to how the drug is absorbed, distributed, metabolized, and excreted by the body. This information is critical in determining the appropriate dosages and schedules for larger trials. Volunteers in Phase 0 trials are not necessarily seeking treatment for a specific condition. They are motivated by a desire to contribute to scientific research and to help advance medical knowledge. If the drug is found to be safe and well tolerated in Phase 0 trials, It may proceed to phase 1 trials, which involve larger numbers of volunteers and higher doses of the drug. Phase 1, Human Pharmacology and Safety. Phase 1 clinical trials are the first stage of testing a new drug on human subjects. These trials typically involve a small group of healthy volunteers, and their primary goal is to evaluate the safety and tolerability of the drug. Phase 1 trials can also provide some initial information on how the drug works in the human body. Usually, around 20 to 100 volunteers are required for a Phase 1 trial. One example of a drug that underwent Phase 1 clinical trials is the medication ibrutinib, which is used to treat chronic lymphocytic leukemia. During the Phase 1 trial, the drug was found to be safe and well tolerated, and it showed promising anti-cancer activity. Phase 2, Therapeutic Exploration. Phase 2 clinical trials are the next stage of testing a new drug on human subjects. These trials typically involve a larger group of patients with the condition that the drug is intended to treat. The primary goal of Phase 2 trials is to evaluate the efficacy of the drug and to determine the optimal dosage. Typically, several hundred volunteers, 100 to 500, are required for a Phase 2 trial. An example of a drug that underwent Phase 2 clinical trials is the medication nivolumab, which is used to treat advanced melanoma. During the Phase 2 trial, the drug was found to be effective, and it showed a survival benefit in patients with advanced melanoma. Phase 3, Therapeutic Confirmation. Phase 3 clinical trials are the final stage of testing a new drug on human subjects before it can be approved by regulatory agencies such as the FDA. These trials typically involve a large group of patients with the condition that the drug is intended to treat, and they are designed to evaluate the safety and efficacy of the drug in a larger population. Typically, several thousand volunteers, 500, 3,000, are required for a Phase 3 trial. An example of a drug that underwent Phase 3 clinical trials is the medication trastuzumab, which is used to treat breast cancer. During the Phase 3 trial, the drug was found to be effective in reducing the risk of breast cancer recurrence and improving overall survival in patients with HER2-positive breast cancer. Phase 4, Post-Marketing Strategy. Phase 4 clinical trials are conducted after a drug has been approved by regulatory agencies and is available for use in the general population. These trials are designed to monitor the long-term safety and efficacy of the drug in a larger population. Phase 4 trials can also provide additional information on the optimal use of the drug and its potential benefits in other conditions. The use of clinical trials in the pharma industry. Clinical trials are an essential part of the pharma industry, as they play a critical role in ensuring the safety and efficacy of new medications. Without clinical trials, it would be impossible to determine whether a new drug is safe and effective for use in the general population. Clinical trials also provide valuable data on the optimal dosage, potential side effects, and the effectiveness of the drug in different populations. Conclusion. In conclusion, clinical trials are a critical part of the drug development process, and they play a crucial role in ensuring the safety and efficacy of new medications. The 4 phases of clinical trials, Phase 1, 2, 3, and 4, involve different numbers of volunteers and provide different types of information on the drug's safety and